This month we're understanding energy first. We're understanding what is energy. We're understanding more about how we are energy workers when we choose to be, that we can be, that we came here to be that, because at our core we are divine beings, expressions of God. We are one with that as we choose to be. We're meant to be one with it. It never leaves us. We don't always choose it though, do we? Sometimes we get very, very wrapped up in the third dimensional reality, the physicalness of life, that we get very disconnected from the fifth dimensional and beyond, the energetic, the love space, the oneness with God space, the oneness with life force, that space. And when we get disconnected, we feel fear. Every time we feel fear, ultimately, we're disconnected. Now, there are people who have not yet awakened to the truth that they are one with their divine essence, that they have a divine essence that's trying to express through them. That's an expression of God, life force, source, energy. And those people live in a greater sense of fear on a regular basis because of that disconnection. And it's not because they're bad people. It's not because of anything wrong with them. They're on their path and they haven't yet awakened. We're all on a path. Some of us are one place and some of us are at another. We're moving at different paces, right? Some of us are moving quickly. Some of us are moving just leisurely. Some of us are running and then resting. We're doing all kinds of things. Having a lot of fun, having some confusion, all of it, right? None of it's right or wrong, good or bad. It is. It just is. It's unfolding. We are unfolding. We are learning to open to life force, receive God force, and be one with it. And then we have moments where we just, for some reason, disconnect from that. Now, we can't 100% disconnect from life force because we are eternal beings. Even if our body stops life force coming through it, our soul never does. We're eternal beings. We do have control over the impact of our bodies by this life force. To the degree we learn to be open to it, we have better health. Physically, we feel better. Emotionally, we feel better. Mentally, we feel better, more clarity, more certainty. And then spiritually, we are more one, and that's where that sense of bliss comes in. And we can learn to be both in that state of bliss and also enjoying fully life in the physical realm. That's what we came here for, that beautiful experience, that blendedness. So what gets in the way is that sense of fear. So think about a time recently where you felt fear. We'll probably never not feel fear. Maybe we will. We might get to a point where we don't really feel it. There's a few masters we've all studied with who have attained that, right? But even if we don't, we haven't done anything wrong, okay? When you feel fear, there's nothing to be ashamed of. It's part of this blendedness experience. All it means is, in that moment, you've forgotten the truth of who you are. You're feeling disconnected. When you feel disconnected, you know what happens next? It feels like it's an us and them thing going on, right? That's that competitive thing that happens. Us and them. Ooh, you're this alone thing. You're this vulnerable creature in this big bad world. That's what fear tries to, that's like the fear pattern of belief. It's like, oh no, I'm not good enough all by myself. I need something outside of me to help me feel safe and secure. And that's when we have a conscious choice to make, or we make an unconscious choice. Conscious choice is to remember who we are, to align first, get our energy where we choose it to be. Where we choose it to be. We get to choose our energy, our vibration. We get to choose that. When we do so consciously, we will do that. When we're unconscious, doesn't mean we're bad or wrong or awful or anything like that. It just means we're putting ourselves through unnecessary discomfort. Sometimes we need to do that to kind of clarify, right? That contrast, those conflicting experiences that are opposite of what we say we want, and then yet we experience something other than what we said we wanted. Those are learning opportunities. Those are powerful moments of awareness that we're not being the powerful, divine co-creator that we came here to be. Do you know that is the greatest fear we have? To be powerful? Yeah. It's hard to be the kind of on this leading edge of consciousness. And it's also exhilarating. It's also wonderful. And we're in that space, it feels wonderful, doesn't it? Boy, it feels fabulous. We love it. And when we're not in that space, the more often we've been in that space, the worse it feels when we're not in that space, doesn't it? The more time we spend being conscious, the more painful it is the moments that we're not being conscious. Yeah. And in those moments, there's a temptation to be hard on yourself. And if you're hard on yourself in those moments, you'll be hard on other people in those moments. So if you can learn to be loving with yourself in those moments, it will naturally happen that you'll be more loving with others when they are going through those moments. And when you're not loving, let's forgive ourselves and start over. Just start over. Just lay it down, let it be, choose again. Consciously choose again. Because the truth of your being is, you are love. You don't have to prove it. You want to be it for the joy of being it, not to prove it. Oh boy, if we can stop requiring people to prove themselves, what a different world we would live in. How about that? Yeah. Doesn't it feel miserable when we do that? It's miserable when we do it to ourselves, and it's miserable when we do it to anyone else. That's like the ultimate disconnection. This person over here I'm looking at God, expressing in this person, and I'm saying, you have to prove yourself. You have to prove your love. You have to prove you're intelligent. You have to prove you're whatever, creative in your unique way. Well, thankfully, God doesn't get mad at us for that. But isn't it pretty silly and illogical to look at an expression of God and tell them they're not enough? Now, in a moment of disconnection, they might be causing harm. That is true. They might be causing discomfort. They might be behaving in a way that's difficult to be around. That's not who they are. That's who they're being in a moment of disconnection. So we don't want to condemn people. We want to be aware and make a conscious choice. I want to continue down this path side by side with this person, or I'm ready to go a little faster, or I'm ready to take a rest. I'm on my path, and I get to choose the pace. Each one of us, we get to choose the pace. We can run for a little while, then rest. We can walk slowly and leisurely and take in the scenery. We can walk with our eyes closed, sense our way through it. We can turn left at one fork, even if it turns out to be the wrong path. It wasn't where we really wanted to go. And go back and then take the right fork instead. We get to choose that. We get to choose how fast we go, if we zig and we zag, if we start and stop. And wouldn't it be wonderful if we quit saying it was wrong when it's not perfect, whatever that means, right? Not one person hearing my voice has a definition of perfect that matches anyone else's. Not one of you. And you're all exquisite and wonderful people, and not one of you has the same definition. Who's right and who's wrong? Nobody. It's more I like to say what's true. What is true for one person is not perfectly true for someone else in that moment. And if we can learn to allow that, we have given the gift of freedom to ourselves and one another. I have a tickly nose, so bear with me. So I want to read something. I love this book, as some of you know, and I love this teacher, Jarrad Hewett. The Answer is Energy. That's our book this month. So he has a chapter called The Freedom of Freedom. I'm going to read a little bit out of this to you. Here's something to ponder. What is one thing you'd like to create in your life? Think hard. If you could manifest anything you truly wanted, what would it be? Now he's going to take us through a couple of choices. Here's the first one. Let's say you want to relieve your debt. You want money, but not because you formed a weird attachment to paper with pictures of people and numbers on it. Or that you think Benjamin Franklin is one sexy dude. We all like those Ben Franklins, don't we? But not because we think he's one sexy dude. You believe money buys you freedom. You desire the energy of freedom. Why do you want the energy of freedom? Because in freedom there is joy. There is lightness. There is abundance. What does abundance feel like? Freedom. What does freedom give you? The ability to open and unleash the you truly are. The joy of pure expression. Take that in. The joy of pure expression. Isn't that really what we want? Yeah. And we want these outer things because we have a physical body that has to be cared for. And the outer things then give us the comfort and the security so then we can be free to enjoy expressing who we really are. Yeah. And then he goes on to say, well, perhaps you're looking for something else. You may want relief. In my story, in his story, I suffered from heart conditions, PTSD, agoraphobia, and many not so great things at an early age. I often said, I want to feel better, or I want to be better. What I wanted was relief. I wanted relief from pain and fear, relief from anxiety and sorrow. But why did I want relief? I wanted relief because I didn't want to be experiencing what I was experiencing. I wanted to be free. There was a time when I was saying, I don't want to feel this way. But by adamantly stating what I didn't want, I was blocking myself from having what I did want and need. I thought the mental dam I was building would keep my pain and sorrow at bay. But had I pushed the barriers down and let life unfold, all that I hoped for would flow into my life. You hear me say a lot to hold your space energetically and be sovereign, right? To hold it, to learn to have mastery of your energy field. Now, when we say energy first, I'm only talking to you about your energy. I am not in any way trying to get you to cause anyone else to check their energy. That's not our place. If somebody comes to you and asks you to guide them with that, which I have that happen with me because of my line of work, and we all have it with people who we love and are friends and trust us and come to us for support, that's different. Yes, if somebody asks you to help them, but you know how you help them? You do what Jesus did. You become sovereign of your energy. You cannot help them at a higher vibration than the vibration of your resonance. So how do you help that person who comes to you for help? You align first, energy first. And then you'll know there'll be wisdom to share or not. Sometimes you'll have wisdom to not say anything, to keep quiet. Sometimes that is the absolute most powerful thing you can do. Lovingly, not angrily, lovingly be quiet. Hold space, believe in them and for them. That's really what they're asking you to help them do, is to find their connection again. Yeah. So I say a lot of times, the problem with boundaries is we have a misconception about what that means generally, and so that's why I don't use that word very much. Because like he was just saying in the book, he was trying to create a barrier around him to prevent something. But see, when you do that, you prevent life force from coming in. And that's the healing force. You can't have the healing. You can't have the change. You can't rise above the fear by having a block to love and light and presence and power. And so when we have a fear of energy, we're only afraid of the energy because we don't know how to be sovereign and consciously choose what we choose and stay aligned with that so that we're in a high vibration. Because when we're in the high vibration, we're not afraid of anyone else's energy. We will be aware of it. We will be aware that it feels good or doesn't. We will be aware that they might be suffering and we have compassion. But we don't get lost in it. We don't let it pull us down into a lower vibration. We can't help that person from the lower vibration. And it doesn't serve us, right? That is actually compassion, is having the courage to choose consciously to maintain a high vibration, a high frequency, so that your influence, like the quote by Ernest Holmes, those mental germs, as he called them, infect people with love and light and joy and peace. Yeah. And the source of that is beyond our humanness. And that's why we want to keep remembering who we are. And when we disconnect from that power, we have no real power to share. Not because we're bad, not because we're being punished. We just forgot who we were. So he goes on to say, when we say, I don't want to feel this way, we're actually saying, this is how I feel. No, I don't want it, I don't want it, I don't want it. But the irony is, when we focus on the no, that's what we're asking the universe to give us. You're saying loud and clear, give me more of that. If we allow ourselves to, at that moment, press pause and say, what do I really want? The answer is, I want freedom. Freedom is an opportunity. It's the free pass to ride the Euphoria Express, our ticket to joy. Now that's an example of a conscious choice. What do I really want? Stop, pause thinking, all the chatter, pause the tumultuous emotions, align. Energy first, align. What do I want? What energy do I want? What energy do I want to experience, express? And then align with that energy. And then go again. And as that becomes our normal way of being, we will do that moment by moment by moment. We'll have moments when we don't for a little bit, but we'll stop ourselves sooner and catch it sooner. And the fear doesn't grow to such an extent that it overwhelms us. It's like we observe it instead of it becoming one with us. You know the difference, don't you? Yeah. It's much better to observe it, isn't it? To observe it and go, well, now that's a silly thought. Right? That's not true. I know better than that. Instead of, it's got you, and then you got to pull out of it. Right? But that's when you can. Okay, here's another idea, he says. Okay. If you are in a relationship and you're saying, my partner isn't honoring me, what is it that you truly want? You may want out of the union because the relationship feels tight and constricting. You want something that feels free. You hunger for the freedom to explore who you are, the you without restriction or limitation, the you embodying your truest expression, the you that overflows with joy. In everything you want, you can go back to the feeling of freedom, joy, and happiness. It may feel a little like cheating, but there's a place where we can have that right now. And we may not need to at all escape that relationship. We just need to learn how to feel free no matter where we are, no matter who we're with, right? Yeah. There's a point where our ego kicks in and decides that things have to be perfect before you can be happy. You can't be happy until. I can't be happy until I have a long-term partner. I can't be happy until I have more money. I can't be happy until I lose 50 pounds. It's mostly a laundry list of things you have little or no control over, and that's where you give your power away. Now that's really fear, isn't it? I can't be happy until I do this thing, and I keep trying to do this thing, and I can't seem to make this thing happen, so I can't be happy. And then this horrible list of things will start growing, like, well, I must not be good enough, and oh my gosh, I must not be worthy, and God loves everyone but me, and what's different about me? How come I'm not loved? And God loves this person, why not me? I seem to be as good a person. And you see, you go into this stuff, and I know it sounds a little extreme, but I also know that we do it sometimes, don't we? And hopefully we pull up quickly, more and more quickly. Yeah. What if in the moment of right now, you gave yourself permission to think past the obstacles you feel are before you and only see the joyful abundance? You may have debt. What would it feel like having the freedom of being debt-free? You may be single and not loving it right now. What would it feel like to have a caring, supportive partner? You may feel you're not supported at work, in your friendships, with your family. What would it feel like to live in a supportive world? What does it feel like to be free, supported, the debt paid off, to have a living partner? What does it feel like to have a job and be surrounded by coworkers who like and support you? What does it feel like? Whatever it is you would like in your life that you don't have at this moment, that you don't have in the outer experience, what would it feel like for that to already be true? What would it feel like to know you could just walk in and flip a switch like a light switch and bring the light back? And it's there. And the darkness that felt scary is not there. And the darkness that felt powerless isn't there anymore. And you just realized it never had power over you after all. It was a choice, and you just, for some reason, weren't making a conscious choice to have it and be it and feel it and express it and experience it and receive it and live as one with it. You are beginning to create the vibration of sovereignty, bliss, and wonder. You've started to change your fundamental vibration and change your entire system. You've picked up the remote control and turned your vibrational channel. The universe sees this shift and says, oh, they're no longer sending the signal, go away, go away, go away. They're no longer vibrating at, I need, or I want. They're now vibrating on a calm, peaceful level. So let's give them more of that calm, peaceful energy. You will magnetize to you the resonance you're vibrating. That's what starts to change the outer reality. That vibration is what begins to lift off the junk that you've been struggling with all these years. He goes on to talk about freedom in a way that I think is really important. So I ask you to really think about this, really take it in. Sometimes we want things to escape from something else, right? We want money to escape from that burden of debt, bills to pay. Or we want money to escape from where we live and move somewhere else. We want money to escape from a job we don't like. And it doesn't have to be money. We want love to escape from feeling lonely or unhappy or sad or disconnected or not valued or not appreciated. Maybe we don't know how to feel joy on our own, and we want someone to help evoke that from us. So think about, is there anything in your life that you want, desire, and what's really going on is you're trying to escape something you don't want. You're wanting this to escape something, as opposed to you're wanting to create something. Do you see the difference? He's going to talk about that for a second here. So often as we grow up, and as we grow out, energetically expanding out in the world, we define stillness and love as an escape energy. We want stillness and love because we want to escape the chaotic world and return to stillness and love, back to the feelings of God. We feel unmoored and vulnerable, yearning to be tethered to Source again. It's easy to get lost in a sea of doing and chasing and running. Like swimming against a riptide, you can get sucked into a sea of despair by thinking how great life could be, how things would be wonderful if only. Before you know it, you've been tossed and turned, drowning in confusion and weighed down with, I'll be happy when. And I'll be happy when also translates as, I'll feel good about myself when. I'll be free to express who I really am when. Right? We need a reminder that the energy inside us, the energy of everything, is all we'll ever need. It is the compass that guides us home, even if in the chaos of life you get turned around and forget who you are. You have the power and presence to call upon this energy to lead you back to the actual source of stillness and love. You don't have to escape to find your freedom. You can go back to this energy. You can be this energy and carry this energy into the world. This force allows you to feel and be the strength, the presence, and embody the stillness and love the world so desperately needs. What is the one thing you'd like to create in your life? Whatever it is, it's already yours. Does that seem true? It's already yours? Is that hard to grasp at this moment or ever? Sometimes? Yeah. So just hold some love for yourself with that feeling. Please don't push it away. The pushing that away keeps us disconnected from power, and it also keeps us in a state of fear, whether it's this much fear or a bunch, The feeling that that's too good to be true. The feeling that that's just not logical. No, that's not how the world works. But see, we don't want to measure by the standard of the world in the third dimension, because we're meant to have dominion over third dimension. And we have that dominion when we remember who we are and we bring that energy into third dimension by creating, not by condemning, not by criticizing, by creating. See, we don't want to condemn and criticize what we fear, what we don't want. We want to let that clarify what we do want. And then we want to bring that power in and create what we do want. Yeah. All right, one more piece real quick. Let me look at the time here. There's one thing that he talks about in his chapter on fear that I want to share. This is really important. So he goes in to talk about when we feel like we're not moving forward, what's really happening. There's a space in the third energy dimension, which is physical reality, the way things have been for thousands and thousands of years. But when we talk about the fifth dimension, where feelings are the fuel, that's where the manifestation and the engine of everything that is comes into being. Where feelings are the fuel. That is how you manifest. It's through feeling. It is the intent and excitement of the pure, open heart. Now, if we use the standard of the world to evaluate, we would say, well, no, it's what we do that creates, right? It's the physical creation, the physical doing. I can't go sit down in that chair unless I take a step. Well, spiritually, you can actually, right? Yeah. Spiritually, you can be in that space, even if your body stays right here. There's so much more to life than what we're experiencing physically. And think about everything that you value the most and cherish the most. Think about love. Love is not something you touch, is it? You could touch someone you love. You can touch the things of beauty that evoke love from you. But the feeling itself is intangible. It's energy. Is it powerful? Is it important? Look at all the things we do in our lives to have that feeling. What if we learn to have that feeling and then flow it into the world to experience more of it and share it, instead of trying to rearrange the world to create that feeling within us? You see the difference? Yeah. Life is an expression. You are an expression of source energy. You are here. You are right now. What you're wanting so often, whether it's love or money or a career, it's going to change your life. So often we want what we think it will bring, but we're not willing to undergo the transformation. The transformation is painful. It feels like your whole world is falling apart. But the wonderful thing is, you can let the whole world fall apart while you're undertaking the beautiful upheaval of creating the new. So that's his chapter about fear. As I said before, what we're most afraid of is being powerful. If we are going to raise our consciousness, be powerful at a higher vibration, and if that is going to become, if we consciously choose that, and that becomes our new dominant vibration, our life will change. Who we are, how we express in the world will change. The kind of work we do might change. Certainly how we do it will change. Some of the people in our life will change. Some, not all, but those who don't change, those who we stay in relationship with, we will interact with them differently. Our bodies will change. We will have more aliveness in our bodies, more vitality. Our minds will change. We'll have more clarity. We'll have more certainty. We will change. We will not lose the true essence of us. We will express it more fully. And we will know the freedom of being who we really are. And we will give ourselves that gift, and we will give others that gift. Will it cause upheaval? Some people can see it that way. I like his expression, it's a beautiful upheaval. Think about the plant busting through the seed. Is that upheaval? Yes. Then it has to bust through the soil. Is that upheaval? Yes. Does the dirt feel it's being upheaved? Yes. And then look what happens. It grows. It produces a flower or a fruit. Something for us, something for life, something for creatures. It's a beautiful upheaval. So we're doing that all the time. We're breaking through a little cocoon that we've put ourselves in, and we're expanding into a new butterfly. Now, when we're in that state of that moment of choice, freedom or fear, freedom or fear, freedom or fear. That's like the butterfly in the chrysalis. It's fragile. Support yourself. Nurture yourself. Physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. And let's be kind to one another. Let's be gracious to one another. Because the reality is, every time we see each other, in this hour that we'll be together today, everybody will be fluctuating through moments of beautiful upheaval. When we walked in, we were one person. When we walk out, we'll be a little different. And in those moments, we're vulnerable, like that chrysalis, that beautiful butterfly in the chrysalis. We're vulnerable because we haven't yet found our, we're a little bit wobbly. We're trying to get our balance in our new space, right? Let's be kind and loving to one another. If somebody's acting out in the fear, give them some space, take care of you. Just remember that's where it's coming from. That's what's really going on. And they're on their path and they'll get there, but we don't know exactly how and when and where. It's not our place. Just love them and let them be who they choose to be, evolve at the pace they choose, and return your focus onto your energy, because that's the best gift you have to offer them anyway. Yeah. Okay, let's have a meditation process. This month I'm using a meditation that's in a chapter from the book, and then at the end we'll add a little more to it. So let's all take a deep breath. Exhale with sound. And another deep breath. Exhale with sound. And now a very slow, deep breath. And a slow, gentle exhale. Right now, I am choosing me. Take a breath, please. I want to repeat that. Right now, I am choosing me. I choose and allow myself the love and the joy and the space to break the cycle and know deeply that I am the experience of divine love. Let's take a breath, please. Feel into that. I am the experience of divine love. Take a breath, please. I am beauty. Feel into that. The beauty of life. I am beauty. Take a breath, please. I am health. The aliveness of life. I am health. Feel into that. breath, please. I am the energy of abundance, even when I don't know it. I am the energy of abundance. Feel into that. Abundance, freedom, wholeness, fullness, plenty, bounty. Take a breath, please. I am joy. I am joy. The joy of being alive. The joy of receiving life from my source. The joy of expressing love as my source. The joy of oneness with all of life. I am joy. Take a breath, please. These are not just words, they're vibrations and energy. They are frequency and experiences that are available to me whenever I am ready to connect. And right now, I am. Feel that connection. Your connection to your source. Take a breath, please. And now I invite you to bring to mind what we spoke of earlier, some area in your life where you desire more freedom, where you are ready to lay down the fear that is blocking the experience you desire. I ask you to envision in your mind that you are holding this fear in your hand, whatever form it takes. It's just energy. And you are in charge of your energy. You can choose to lay that down. Envision that. Just lay it down. Lay it down. Let it be. Let it return to the light that is the truth of your being, of all of our beings. Just let it return to the light. Let it be. You don't have to do anything to it. Just let it be. Let it dissipate, transmute back into pure light. Because it's just energy. Take a breath, please. And now, what do you choose? Without restriction, what do you choose to freely experience? Give yourself permission to choose it without restriction. No justification, no explanation, no proving, no earning. Choose it. Just choose it. Choose the energy of it. Allow the energy of it. Feel the energy of it. Now be the energy of it. Take a breath, please. And I invite you to stay with that feeling. Take it with you throughout the week. Practice it. Practice that feeling, that energy, that vibration.